Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and this week's show is full of adventures. We're going to start by taking you to the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula, out on Hubbard Lake for some exciting ice fishing for walleyes. You won't want to miss that. And Jimmy's got some other fun stuff for us too this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more stories on this week's show. We're actually going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do some smelt fishing on this week's program, and we're going to be doing that with hook and a line. You won't want to miss that. We'll also have a pheasant recipe for you, so lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. By Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Vanguard, a global manufacturer based in Michigan featuring rifle scopes, binoculars, and spotting scopes with lifetime warranties. Vanguard supplies sporting optics and accessories for the outdoor enthusiast, online at vanguardworld.com.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and we kick off this week's show in northern Michigan, where I was able to spend some time walleye fishing through the ice on Hubbard Lake.
We're on Hubbard Lake today, chasing some walleye. We're off the deep water. We're off the drop off in the deep water, set up in around 50 to 60 feet of water, and a lot of walleyes, good eaters, ranging in 15 to probably 21-inch range. And we have been getting into some giant perch, up to 16 inches, and they get up to over 2 pounds. So we're hoping to get in a couple of those today too.
Hubbard Lake can often be overlooked as a quality fishing lake because, well, let's face it, it's pretty hard to get to. But this northern Michigan gem is home to some great fishing.
Today we're fishing Hubbard Lake. It's in northern Alcona County. It's 7 miles long, roughly 3 miles wide, about 9,000 acres. It's a really deep lake. Its average depth is probably around 40 feet. It has a really sharp break all the way around the lake. There's a drop off that goes about 15 foot down to about 40 all the way around the lake. So they got 3 big basins. You have East Bay, you have North Bay, and you have the south end. And people fish all over the lake, and there's incredible fishing for walleyes in many different locations. First one, it's always the best one.
Today the plan was to fish exclusively with tip-ups, a technique Steve has found to be the most efficient way to fish this large body of water.
Today's technique is primarily tip-ups. Jigging works. Some people swear by it out here. I found out that I have better luck on tip-ups. We're fishing 50 to 6 feet of water. We're using emerald shiners. There's no gray shiners anywhere in the state of Michigan that I'm aware of. So emerald shiners work good. Everybody calls them the walleye minnows. We usually put them roughly 3 to 4 feet off bottom, and we're using a little treble hook. And sometimes I run a little bead on them too. But if you try and run tip-ups at the same time you're jigging, you gotta set the jigging rod down, run out to the tip-up, mess with the tip-up, maybe you'll catch a fish, maybe not. By the time you get back, it's been 10, 15 minutes, and you're not jigging that whole time. So we found out that tip-up fishing is your most productive method, and we bring out a warming shack, I call it. It's basically a deer blind. It's got 4 sides with windows on each side, and you just sit inside and wait for the flags to fly. That way you can put flags. We got some out probably 200 yards out to the side, just trying to locate the fish. Having a shack that you can take around to wherever the fish are at. It's permanently mounted on skis, so you can take it to wherever you're fishing and you can stay warm. Kids can come. It's great for families, great for big parties. Anybody that's cold can go warm up. Other people can still continue to fish. Works out very well.
Look what we got.
Steve had told me they were catching some very nice perch mixed in with the walleye, and he wasn't exaggerating. This perch was actually on the smaller side of some of the ones they had been catching, and was still a very nice perch.
13-ish, 13.5-ish around there.
Pretty good one.
It's not so much the length as it is the bellies on them. You can see that she's spitting out eggs, so I mean they're just huge females. Their egg sacs are just ginormous inside. It makes their bellies puff up. That's where they get that huge weight.
Well, the morning came and went with lots of flags, but only a couple of fish. We were constantly checking tip-ups, but very rarely was there a fish still on. It was a light bite to be sure, but after a little lull in the early afternoon, the action began to heat up again.
Today's right after a nice warm spell. We got a nice little cold snap last night. The barometer was falling all night. Just keeping an eye on it. And today it was rising. It rose all morning, which the fish were biting, but they're biting real light. They're taking it out about 10 feet and dropping it, which is typical after a cold snap.
As the afternoon went on, the bite remained just steady enough to keep us busy. If we weren't dealing with a fish, the brutal weather conditions had us constantly checking tip-ups and reopening holes. This style of fishing requires constant work, especially on cold days.
Today with the wind, you got drifting snow, and it's pretty tough when they're light biting like this. You got to constantly go around, check your lines. If you're not getting no action, you get out there and check them, make sure they didn't kill the minnow, make sure the minnows are still lively, clean the holes out. Make sure the tip-up's ready to go off. So there's a lot of maintenance on the colder days. And that's what's happening today. Finding out that a lot of fish coming up and just grabbing it, killing the minnow. And some of them just take it out a short ways and drop it. So when they're light biting, it's pretty tough. Normally, they have it swallowed by the time you go out there. Very rarely see a dropped bait. So if they take, they usually have it. Today's kind of unusual. At least they're biting. There's those freshwater shrimp. See the freshwater shrimp? You look in the hole.
One unique thing about this fishery is the abundance of these so-called freshwater shrimp. Steve bases a lot of his fishing strategy around these shrimp, and it was evident that they are indeed a large part of the diet of the walleye here on Hubbard Lake.
In general, I do believe the fish are out here on this flat because of that freshwater shrimp. I believe that's their main forage in the winter. I've never found anything else in their stomachs other than the freshwater shrimp. And I do believe they're in these big basins down in the deep, 40 to 60 feet of water, feeding on those freshwater shrimp. In the past, these fish usually hang out in their normal locations. Sometimes they hang out on the structure. I find them, most of them have been out in the big flats. Later in the winter, they do naturally spawn in this lake. They do not stock this lake. These are all natural reproduction fish. They tend to congregate towards the river mouth in late ice. So we'll find them down in the southern end of the lake near March 15th.
Well, we ended the day with 6 keeper walleye and 1 really nice perch. Of course, this had been one of the slower days Steve had had all year, but that's often the case when the cameras are rolling. Special thanks to Steve for having me out on the hard water for a good day of fishing here in northern Michigan.
Well, in this next story, we are going to continue on doing a little bit more ice fishing, but it kind of has a little bit of a twist. It's kind of a unique way to ice fish, but it's really a unique angler who's doing what he can to give back to the resource. Last week found me between Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, doing something that normally only happens in northern Michigan, that is getting ready to do some smelt fishing.
Well, Phil, what do we got going on here today?
Trying for some smelt.
Yeah, where are we?
What's commonly known as Second Bay on Gull Lake, near Kalamazoo.
Okay.
And, bite's been up and down for me, but guys have been getting them, and we're going to see what we can do tonight.
And tell me a little bit about this rig, if someone's not familiar with a smelt rig.
This is it's a smelt rig. On recognized smelt waters, you're allowed to use unlimited number of hooks on one pole.
Okay.
I have 9 number 16 and number 14 fly hooks, and then a little Sitka smelt stick. You can use, a lot of guys use Haley jigs, and it's a glow jig. Just tie these hooks in line, about 6 inches apart, and that's I'm using 3-pound test. With smelt, I don't think the line weight really matters too much.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
and the long rod.
Yeah, a long rod. I feel it helps me with hookups.
Okay.
A lot better with hookups, and just a little more action. Not a big fan of short rods.
Okay. And what is a good night or a bad night as far as numbers of smelt?
Depends on who you talk to. For me, a good night, I'd say anything over 50.
Oh, okay.
I'd say anything over 50 is a good night. Really, every night's a good night just getting out here.
Getting on the ice is always fun, especially when it's almost like a small village out here. Tons of guys, shacks, and lanterns were making their way onto the ice for these delicious and sought-after smelt. The spot we were fishing was open water just 2 weeks prior, but we had about 5 or 6 inches of ice, and we were in about 60 feet of water. The best bite is right after dark, so Phil, his brother John, and John's grandson Wyatt, well, we were ready for the fish.
Got one going?
Yep, got one going. See if we can get him up through the hole. Ain't even dark yet. Just changed jigs. There is Gull Lake smelt.
There he is. Okay, the first of many.
Now, one of the reasons I wanted to fish with Phil was a small program he got started here on Gull Lake that has done a lot in keeping the ice clean for everybody.
Just got tired of seeing trash out here. A lot of guys out here like me, if you see something, pick it up, take it home with you. And on an ice fishing forum, a lot of people are complaining about all the trash on the ice and all the slobs. And kind of got tired about reading posts like that. Instead of posting stuff, why not try to do something? I just came up with a crazy idea. Started on the north end 3 years ago. I took the garbage cans that were up there and I just made a little sign and put it down by where guys walk on, and it worked. And so last year I started doing it down here at South Bay and also here at Second Bay. The business owners allowed me to put the garbage cans out and just put a sign on them. Please dump your trash here, take it home with you, don't leave it on the ice. Pretty simple, and it works, and I'm hoping that other guys can do it on their local lakes to keep the lakes clean. Just something that's simple to do.
Ooh.
Way to go. Bottom hook.
Big smelt.
That's a good smelt right there.
Big one. Nice.
Wyatt's first smelt.
Nice job, Wyatt.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get down there and get you another one.
You know he's getting close.
Okay. Pull him up out, away from that hole. Another big one. Yeah, another nice one. Another Gull Lake smelt. Just grab him by the head. About 10 feet to go. As soon as that swivel comes up, pull him up out of the hole, okay? Yeah, pull him up out of the hole. Get him away from the hole. Ooh, another nice one. Yep. Wow, that's a nice one. I know. Hey, pull him up. Good job. Excellent. Smaller one. We'll take him.
Yep.
Well, for smelt fishing, the night was fairly slow. Phil says at good night that he and a buddy will put about 50 or so fish on the ice. Tonight, we were going to do about half of that, but landing 20 or so is still not a waste of time. It's great to be out, and with the glow of the lantern, it's hard to beat time on the ice with friends.
It's a flashlight did help.
Nice.
Let's down there, see if we can't do it again.
Good job.
Thank you.
Now, being on the ice in a warm ice shack has its advantages, but huddling around a lantern with buddies while sitting on a bucket, well, it also has its merits. However you choose to do it, make sure that you take some time to get on the ice this winter. Whether you use LCD lights under the ice to attract the fish, or you just spud a hole and hope for the best, part of the fun is getting out here and just experiencing a Michigan night on the ice.
Got Anthony and Phil Peters here again, making a quick recipe of pheasant and orzo soup for you. Nice and simple, but very flavorful soup. All right, we have 6 pheasants and half a chicken. We use the chicken just so you got that fat, adds a little flavor to it. We have some beef base or beef broth, parsley, chicken bouillon, about 6 cups of mushrooms, a pound of orzo, about 4 cups of celery, and 4 cups of carrots. All right, so we got the stock here, which we cooked the birds in whole. We had 1 whole onion and 2 cloves of garlic in there that I took out, and we're gonna blend and add in later. I'll show you guys that when we get to it.
The stock is made with 6 to 8 quarts of water. The guys leave it simmering while they remove all the bones and cartilage from the meat and tear it into small pieces.
All right, our birds are done now, so next step is to soften up our vegetables. We're gonna have Phil take these and saute them off in the pan, and then I'll show you what I was talking about with the onions when he's doing that. All right, so when we boiled the birds whole in the water, I had 1 whole onion in there and about 2 cloves of garlic. So what I do is I let them cook with the water, and then I soften them up like so, and then I blend it and add it to my soup for flavors. So first, I'm gonna add my onion and garlic puree. Phil, go ahead and add the vegetables. I'm gonna take my mushrooms. All right, so if you're at camp or something like that, you can do this in a crock pot. You can do it in a cast iron pot over an open flame, anything. And you can typically add anything to this soup. You can be creative. I got 2 chicken bouillon right now. I'm gonna add those to it. Let that melt. I got my parsley for some color. Throw that in there. Stir that around real good. And this is a little beef broth. You can use bouillon if you got it. Just throw that in there for some flavor and some color. Which is our chicken and pheasant. I don't want to burn myself, so I'm putting it in slow.
Once all the meat and vegetables are in, Anthony brings the soup to a rolling boil and lets it cook for about an hour. Then it's ready for the final step.
We've had it cooking for about an hour now. We're gonna add orzo, which is it's a cross between a rice and a noodle. So it looks like rice, but it tastes like a noodle. It's got that texture. So we're gonna just throw that in right now.
If you don't have orzo, you can use rice, barley, pasta.
Oh, you can use any. You can use little noodles. Use those star noodles. So now we're just gonna give it a nice stir. Let those noodles will take 10 minutes to cook. So we'll let them cook, and then we'll try it. We're gonna take a nice heaping scoop, get everything, all the meat, orzo, some broth. All right. Nice and hot.
Looks good.
Ooh, yeah.
Are you gonna try it out?
Yep.
I'm gonna put a little Parmesan on mine. You put whatever you want.
Put a little hot sauce. You can do whatever you like.
Let's try it out.
All right.
That's good.
Oh, nice and tender. Mmm. There we go. Let everything get a little mushroom in there.
This is good.
Real good.
Thanks to Anthony and Phil for bringing us another awesome wild game recipe. You can find this and all of our recipes on our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online when you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways on our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. When you're there, you can check out the history of the show, wild game recipes, some older episodes, or even this week's episode over again. Or you could check us out on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on there every few weeks letting you know where we are, where we're headed next, and what we're up to. And speaking of what we're up to, we've got a lot of fun in store for you yet this winter. We'll take you out lake trout fishing through the ice at a couple of different places across the state. We'll also visit with Mark Martin up in the UP out of Escanaba for some walleye fishing through the ice. And we're even going to throw in a crow hunt before the season ends. Lots of fun stuff headed your way.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Lots of good stuff coming over the next few weeks. And if you are watching this on Thursday night, a week from tonight on February the 25th, we're going to be hosting Big Buck Night East, and that's going to be at Outdoorama down there in Novi. If you get a chance, stop down. It is a lot of fun. You hear some great stories, and our friends over there at Vanguard are going to be helping us out with some great prize packages that they're going to be giving away not only to some of the participants, but some of the people in the crowd as well. Lots of good stuff coming over the next few weeks, and if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including Outdoorama February 25th through 28th at Novi's Suburban Showplace. The show features tackle, trips, boats, outfitters, wildlife encounters, and of course, Big Buck Night. That's Outdoorama in Novi, February 25th through 28th. By Eagle Claw Chappelle, offering a line of pop-up and flip-over shelters and the new cabin-style Bay Runner 2. Chappelle also offers a selection of sleds, including the new winter camo pattern jet sled. Eagle Claw Chappelle, we have you covered. On the web at chappelle.com. Closed captioning is provided by the Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man.